Hello, my angel, and welcome back to Secrets of the Garden. I am your grateful host, Charlotte Rose, and I want to say thank you so much for being here today because today we are going to be talking about something that is very juicy and very important to all aspects of our life. We are going to be talking about the idea that everything is a mirror. And what I mean by this is that everything in our external reality is a reflection of what we already feel to be true in our internal state of being. The external is a reflection of the internal. We have largely been programmed to believe that our internal state is a product of our external reality, that if only we make enough money, then we will feel successful. If only we have a good group of friends, then we will feel connected. If only we find the love of our life, then and only then can we feel lovable. Then and only then can we love ourselves. However, we are going to be diving into why the reverse of all of those things are true. That when you do feel successful and completely confident in your capabilities, that's when the money rolls in. When you feel confident in who you are and you already feel connected to others around you, that's when those good people enter your life. And when you truly love yourself and when you love your own company, that is when you meet that special person. Before we fully begin, I also want to say welcome if you are new here, and if you are a returning listener, then welcome back. This podcast is all about using the elements that are in our lives, our past, our present, and our future, and combining them in order to manifest our dream reality. We use the things that we already have available to us in order to create the life that we want through determination, through self acceptance, and through an unwavering belief that we are capable of living out our dream lives. Just to give a little bit of an overview of today's episode, we are again going to be talking about this idea, or this hidden truth rather, that your external reality is created by your internal reality. We are going to be talking about the subconscious mind and how that relates to your external reality and how it is so important to take a look at your subconscious mind if you want to change your external reality. We're going to be talking about why it's important to shift your identity and how that will liberate you from patterns of suffering. And finally, I'm going to give you guys a list of tools that you can implement into your own lives, into your own daily routines that will change your life. Absolutely. I promise you that if you start to really commit to implementing either one or multiple of these tools into your daily routine, and if you are serious about taking the steps that you need to take in order to change your internal state, then you are absolutely going to see results be reflected in your external reality. Your life is going to change for the best. Okay, so by now I've already said that your internal state of being creates and shapes your external reality. And if you are raising your eyebrow at this, if you are maybe feeling a little bit doubtful of this, that is totally normal and totally okay. And to begin, I just want to give you a quick example of how you yourself have proven this idea in your own life. And you've proven this day in and day out by how the trajectory of your days go. What I mean by this is that when you are already feeling good about yourself, when you are taking care of yourself, when you wake up early in the morning and you treat yourself to a nice coffee, when you doll yourself up, when you got enough rest the night before because of steps that you took in order to get to bed on time, you will come to find that your day only continues to get better. When you are in a good mood, most of the time, your day just becomes more and more positive, right? Whereas on the flip side, You could have the exact same day happening for yourself. Everything in your external reality is the same. You're waking up in the same house. You're going to your same job. You are on the same route that it takes to get to your job. But if you're feeling crummy about yourself, if you maybe didn't get enough sleep the night before, or maybe you didn't make yourself breakfast, or let's just say you're in a bad mood in general, more often than not, you will come to find that your day will continue to get worse. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, of course I'm running into traffic because, of course, I forgot my coffee back at home and I didn't take it in the car ride with me as I'm driving to work. And of course, this person is now flipping me off in traffic, etc., etc., etc. Right? So, the point that I'm trying to make here is that you have proven to yourself that how you feel internally impacts your external reality, that what you are feeling on the inside creates a wave that follows that feeling that you have deep within you. And by this logic, if you can determine whether or not you are going to have a good day just purely based off of your internal state, I believe that you can determine whether or not you have a good life based off of your internal state. If you have the power to create a good day for yourself, you have the power to create a good life for yourself. And this all stems from the subconscious mind. Your internal state of being and the perception that you have of yourself is the number one determining factor in how your life will go. And let me be clear, I am fully aware that we were all born into this world with different circumstances. I understand that the family you were born into, the socioeconomic status that you were born into, the kind of body that you were born into, your environment, your country of origin impacts your journey. Absolutely. All of those things will shape how your story goes. And at the same time, any challenges that were put into your life are not put into your life so that you can succumb to them, but rather so that you can overcome them and use what you have available to you in order to create the best life possible for yourself. You are so much more powerful than you even know. You are an alchemist. You have the power to transform darkness into light. You have done it before, and you can do it again, and you will do it again. Absolutely. So, if we have the power to shape our external reality, and we've seen others go from sickness to health, from struggle to triumph, from loneliness to connection, then why is it so difficult for us to create the dream life that we want? Why does it oftentimes feel like we are Sisyphus rolling the rock up the hill for eternity when it comes to breaking old patterns of suffering and implementing new patterns of love and success? Well, the truth of the matter is that most of your life is influenced by something that you are probably not even aware of, and that is your subconscious mind. Oh my gosh, Charlotte, what is the subconscious mind? Oh, I'm so glad that you asked. What a great question. Your subconscious mind is the part of your brain, the part of your mind that relates to thoughts and feelings and influences your habits, your behaviors, the way that you feel about yourself deep down. However, you are not even aware of it. You're not aware of the contents of your subconscious mind because they exist beneath the surface of your realm of consciousness. Studies have shown that the vast majority of neural activity does not even enter your conscious awareness, and that conscious awareness is only a small subset of overall brain activity. You can kind of think of your consciousness, your level of conscious awareness, rather, as almost like the tip of an iceberg. And beneath the surface is your subconscious. I like to think of the subconscious almost as like this hidden puppeteer that is kind of pulling all the strings behind the scenes. The motions that you go through in your daily life as the quote unquote puppet are so automatic that you aren't even aware of how these strings are being pulled. However, the good thing about our minds is that we can actually take a look at the subconscious and we can also be our own puppeteers. Things like perception, motor control, language processing, habit formation, and autonomic regulation, which are things like heart rate, breathing, digestion, are all controlled subconsciously, meaning they are controlled automatically and without conscious thought. An example of your subconscious taking the wheel, no pun intended, in your life is when you are driving. When you drive from your house to your school, or from your house to your place of work, or from your house to your favorite park, and you're thinking about totally something completely different than driving, but you still are driving. Or maybe another example of your subconscious at the wheel is when you make the same coffee every single morning for yourself without even thinking about it. Or maybe you brush your teeth, or maybe you reach for your phone out of habit and you don't even understand why you're picking up your phone, but you just do. Right? That is your subconscious at work. That is your body going through these motions that are so familiar to you that you don't even need conscious thought in order to experience this activity that you are experiencing. So, to recap, how you think, how you feel, and how you act are largely controlled by your subconscious mind. And only a small percentage of these things are actually controlled by your conscious mind. So, if we can agree that our internal world creates and shapes our external world, and our internal world is largely influenced, largely controlled by our subconscious mind, then it is safe to say that our subconscious mind informs our external world. Our subconscious mind greatly influences the external reality that we experience. And here is a little secret. Most of the things that appear in our external reality are things that feel safe to our subconscious minds. What? How does that work? What do you mean it feels safe to my subconscious mind? I don't like these things in my external reality, so how can that be? Well, here's the thing. Your subconscious mind gravitates towards things that feel familiar to it because what is familiar to your subconscious mind is predictable. And the things that are predictable to your subconscious mind are the things that your subconscious already knows how to handle. You can kind of think of your subconscious mind as this neutral territory where it doesn't gravitate towards things that make you happy or sad. All it does is it gravitates towards things that are already familiar to you, because if something's already familiar to you and you've already survived that thing in the past, that means that you can survive it again, most likely. Right? So, this is why you can often find yourself living in these repeated patterns that really don't serve you and that don't make you happy, but they keep appearing because they are familiar to your subconscious mind, right? Have you ever found yourself getting together with a person, seeking out a partner, or having a person be attracted to you that is almost like a replica of a past person that you've dated? Or maybe you continue to apply to and get hired at these jobs that underpay you. And cognitively, you know that you are deserving of more, but for whatever reason, you just keep finding yourself in this pattern of dead end jobs. Or maybe you always have these weird little health issues that arise. And you're like, what is going on? I try to take care of myself. I go to the doctor. Why do these things keep happening? Or maybe you discover that no matter how hard you try to quit an addiction, you always keep resorting to that same vice of yours. And you're like, I know this doesn't make me happy. I know this doesn't fulfill me. I know that it does not serve me. So why do I keep going back to this? Why is this so hard for me to break? this addiction. It all goes back to the subconscious mind and the fact that our subconscious mind makes us gravitate towards things that feel safe, feel predictable, feel familiar to us. Because to our subconscious mind, that ensures our survival. Now, because the subconscious mind is pulled towards things that are familiar to us, it is extremely important that we take a look at what was familiar to us growing up. This is because a lot of the beliefs that we have about ourselves and the beliefs that we have about the world around us are greatly informed by what we saw in our field of vision growing up. So you can ask yourself, what was in my field of vision as a child? What things felt familiar to me? Did my parents always argue? Were they always feeling stressed out about money? Did we not have the resources to be able to go to the doctor? Did I grow up with loving parents? Did I grow up with parents that communicated well with each other? Did I grow up with a sibling that routinely broke the law in order to get their basic needs met? And did I have to break the law in order to get my basic needs met? Whatever you experienced in your childhood, whatever narrative you absorbed surrounding money, surrounding love, surrounding your self concept, your self worth, surrounding friendships, family, etc., are the blueprints that you were given as a child and the narrative that you were fed when you were growing up. This was out of your control. This was something that kind of was just in your field of vision, and your subconscious absorbed this as the truth. And we are going to talk about also the science behind this and why this happens when we are children. So, from the time that you are born to the time that you reach adulthood, your brain goes from the brainwave state of delta and it moves through all these different brainwave states and into beta. Delta is a low frequency, a slow moving brainwave state. And then beta, the one that we experience as adults, is the brainwave state that is faster and is more of a high frequency brainwave state. I'm just going to do a quick rundown, a little rapid fire overview of the brainwave states that you experience from ages 0 all the way through 12 and into adulthood. So from ages 0 to 2, you are mostly in the delta brainwave state. And this brainwave state resembles deep sleep, it resembles deep meditation, and this is why babies literally have a hard time staying awake for that long, because it's almost like they have one foot in one world and one foot in the other. From ages 2 to 7, you are in theta. Theta brainwaves move more quickly than delta brainwaves, but they're still very slow. And this is the time period in which children absorb a lot of information. They are learning things very quickly. And also, anything that is said to them is taken as absolute truth. They are highly receptive to any information that they are told because their analytical minds are not yet developed. So it's really important what you say to children during this time because it forms their beliefs. Theta is the brainwave state that adults also experience during hypnosis. So you can almost think of this period of ages 2 to 7 as being this window in which children are in this hypnotic state. So from ages 7 to 12, children's minds are mostly experiencing the alpha brainwave state. This period of time is one of great creative ingenuity for children. They are so creative at this age because their imagination is quite literally just as real as the reality that they see around them. It's really important, the information that you say, that you tell to a child during this time, because they inform a child's core beliefs. And from ages 12 onward, from the time that you hit puberty, really, all the way until the day that you leave this earth, your brain is mostly experiencing beta brainwaves. Beta uses conscious and logical thinking to reach conclusions and to problem solve. And if you are listening to this right now and you are 12 years of age or older, this is the state that you are experiencing right now. Beta. Okay, so now that we are familiar with the brainwave states that we experience all the way from the time that we are born through our entire adulthood, we can understand the subconscious mind better. I bring up these brainwaves for two reasons. The first one being that much of what you absorbed as a child, your perception of money, of love, of self-worth, of how you feel about yourself, of health, wellness, etc., are things that were hardwired into you at a young age, and they can, and they most likely do, still affect and impact your current state of being without you even realizing it. The younger that we were taught something or that we witnessed something, the more deeply that belief, that narrative, is embedded into our subconscious mind if it goes unchecked, if we don't examine the subconscious mind that we all have. The second reason as to why I bring up these brainwave states is to remind you that it is not your fault if you have struggled heavily with breaking a certain pattern of suffering for yourself. If you are like, why is it so hard for me to break this bad habit that I have? Or why is it so hard for me to start dating a different type of person? Or whatever your story might be, whatever your pattern that you've experienced is, it is not your fault. Because I know that consciously you want more than anything. You have wanted more than anything to have love in your life, peace in your life, money, success, whatever it may be, right? Your subconscious as a child was doing what it does best and absorbing the information that was presented to it, because your subconscious is neutral territory. It just absorbs what is being shown to it. It absorbs the narrative that it is being told. And that is that. So it's not your fault if you're like, why can't I break this really hard habit for myself? Why do I keep self-sabotaging? Your subconscious mind has only been trying to protect you by going towards the things that are familiar to you. And a lot of what is familiar to you are the things that you were shown in your early upbringing. So when we understand what our subconscious mind is, and we understand and familiarize ourselves with how it came to develop, how it came to adopt these different narratives about ourselves and about who we are in relation to our external reality, then we can start to separate our identity and who we actually are from these narratives that our subconscious mind has automatically absorbed throughout our lives. Simply speaking, we can separate our identity from our struggles. I am going to repeat this a few more times. Your identity is separate from your struggles. Your identity is separate from your struggles. You are not your struggles. Your identity is separate from your struggles. Okay? Got that? We all clear? Okay, great. So when we separate these things, the identity and our struggles, we can now look at our struggles from an objective point of view and see that they are actually just things that need tending to, and they need a little bit of nurturing and care in order to be resolved. Just to give a little bit of an analogy, imagine, if you will, that you break your wrist. It might feel like a never-ending process of trying to get from the state of a broken wrist to the state of a healed wrist. You might think to yourself, oh my gosh, I have to wait 8 weeks until I get out of this cast. I feel like my whole world is turned upside down, right? And all of those feelings are valid. However, when you break your broken wrist doesn't become an inherent part of your identity, at least not forever, right? It can become a part of your medical history. It will one day be a story about your past, but it's not embedded in your soul, right? It's not who you are, having a broken wrist. And so what do we do in order to heal a broken wrist? We go to the doctor. We seek out professional help. We ask people around us to help us out for a little bit. Hey, can you carry my books while we're going to class? Hey, can you drive me to work or wherever, right? We communicate with others and we don't try to heal it all on our own. If we try to heal it all on our own, it is going to be hard. Okay? It is going to be really hard. It might not be impossible, but it's going to be harder than it needs to be. And when we have a broken wrist, what do? We need to rest it. We need to nurture it. We need to heal it. We need to do the things necessary in order to make it better. We don't just keep using it. We don't just keep carrying our books around or our dinner plates around, right? Because that can damage it further. And that can make the healing process a lot longer than it needs to be. So I want you to think of your struggles in your life as your broken wrist, right? These things, even though you maybe have experienced them for your entire life, let's say maybe you've never experienced comfort when it comes to money. Let's just have that as an example. Even though that's been your struggle, it's not a part of your identity. It's not a part of who you are, and you have the capacity to change your relationship to money and change what you believe your self-worth to be. So when we heal our internal wounds and we begin to rewrite the narratives of what our identities are, then we change how we move in the world. We change our habits, we change our behaviors, we change how we speak. And when we change all of those things, the external world around us begins to shift as well. People respond differently to us. Opportunities respond differently to us. We are gravitating towards things that are for our highest good rather than things that will only lead to more suffering. We start to recognize people, places, and things that were once deemed as threats to our subconscious mind because they were not familiar to us as now being good for us, comfortable for us, things that we know how to handle because we've rewritten our subconscious. What we're really trying to get at here is there being no resistance between yourself and the thing that you want to have in your life. When your subconscious is fully on board with making large sums of money, there's no resistance there, there's no desperation there, there's no feelings of tightness or tension surrounding making large sums of money. That's when opportunities will appear in your life that will help you achieve large sums of money. When there's no resistance in your subconscious between yourself and finding the love of your life. When you feel like you are fully lovable, and there's no desperation there, there is no impatience, there is no, oh, I'm going to self-sabotage because I don't know how to handle true love because it's not familiar to me. That is when that right person appears in your life. It's actually very simple. And this is why people will do the same kinds of things over and over and over again for years. They'll do the same habits, the same routines, the same ways of trying for years, but nothing will ever shift in their external reality because their subconscious minds are still not fully on board with whatever it is that they are trying to achieve. We all experience this thing called confirmation bias, which is where we unknowingly seek out people, places, and experiences that already affirm the deep-seated beliefs that we have in our subconscious. So your brain is always looking to be right about whatever your internal beliefs are. This is, again, why your brain scans different opportunities and gravitates towards the one that affirms this pattern of suffering that you've experienced in your life. And as we know, it's not your fault. This is just how the brain works. So if we want to change our external reality, we first have to change the narratives about our own identities that our subconscious has been holding onto for so long. When we change our subconscious mind, we change our habits, our behaviors, our thoughts, and our feelings. And when we change all of these things, We literally alter the experience of life that we end up having. As within, so without. So, how do we change our subconscious mind?
Well, I'm so happy that you asked that.
I don't know why I continue to implement this British accent into this episode. But anyway, I'm going to give you a list of tools that you can use in order to rewire your subconscious beliefs. Many of these tools can be done just solely by yourself. And several of these tools can be done with a trained professional. In fact, I would recommend that you do some of these things with a trained professional, especially if you have experienced trauma or you have highly complex emotions. It's always good to face these kinds of things and to navigate these experiences and rewrite your subconscious mind alongside a person who knows how to walk you through this rewiring process in a professional way. The first tool that I want to recommend to you that has personally changed my life for the best, and I know will change your life too, is affirmations. Affirmations, if you don't know what they are essentially positive statements that you declare about yourself that are aligned with the kind of person that you want to be. For example, if you said to yourself, I am confident, that is an affirmation. Now, you might not feel confident at first when you say this, and you might not have any behaviors that reflect confidence. But the thing that's great about the mind is that we are always looking to reaffirm the stories that we are telling ourselves. The brain, because of its confirmation bias, always is trying to scan for any stories that align with the narrative that our subconscious already has about ourselves and will absorb that. So if you continue to say to yourself every single day, I am confident, I am healthy, I am loved, I am desired, I am beautiful, etc., 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 your brain will start to shift from not believing those things and not identifying with those things to then believing these characteristics that you are claiming you own. And I will say that when you start out doing this, you will probably feel like a phony at first, and that is totally okay. But it's important that you sit with the feeling as you say these things, of whatever the characteristics are that you are listing off. Affirmations helped me literally overcome some really intense body dysmorphia that I had when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, I suffered from a very intense eating disorder, and it really impacted the way that I viewed my body. I believed that my body was something totally different than what it actually was in reality. And I remember I didn't even understand what the concept of affirmations were, but as a teenager, I got to this point where I thought to myself, okay, you know what? My brain has convinced myself that my body is ugly or whatever I thought it was. So because I got myself into this, kind of, I can get myself out of this too. So, what I started to do was I began looking in the mirror and I would say affirmations to myself every day. My skin is beautiful. My stomach is gorgeous. My arms are nice and toned and healthy, whatever it was. And I didn't believe them at first, but over time, I began to believe these things. And now I can genuinely say that when I look in the mirror, it's almost always positive thoughts. And it was only because of the power of my own brain that got me here. So, the second tool that you can use to change your subconscious mind is meditation slash visualization. And the reason as to why meditation slash visualization works with rewiring your subconscious beliefs is because when you meditate and when you visualize things, you go from being in an alert state to a relaxed state of being. You drop down from those higher frequency beta brainwaves into the lower frequency, calmer, more relaxed, slower brainwaves of theta and alpha. And as we know from our overview of these different brain waves, it is easier to access your subconscious mind and to rewire those deeply rooted beliefs when your brain is in those lower frequency waves. So, when your brain drops down into a state of meditation and you begin to visualize your life as you want it to be, not as what it already is, it helps to tell your subconscious, hey, this is actually what my lived experience is. Because as they say, your brain cannot tell the difference between a real and an imagined experience. So it will behoove you to visualize yourself having the body that you want, having the friends that you want, being confident, speaking in the way that you want to speak, eating the kinds of foods that you know would make you feel better, living in your dream house. Your subconscious will begin to believe that this is all real for you. And not only that it's real for you, but these things are comfortable for you. Your subconscious will begin to believe that these are familiar things to you. And from there, you will be able to get connected with those people, places, and things that are for your highest good, because your brain will not think of them as a threat any longer. Meditation and visualization has quite literally gotten me to where I am today, because I grew up on the East Coast of the United States, and I remember it got to a certain point where I was in my early 20s that I wanted to move to Southern California. And I didn't know how I was going to get there, and I didn't know what was going to happen. But I would visualize myself living in Southern California. I would visualize the palm trees. I would visualize me relaxing at the beach. I would experience the weather in my mind. And then one thing led to another. And now I live in Southern California. So perhaps I can do a whole other video on my journey from living on the East Coast for the first 24 years of my life to moving out to the West Coast. But essentially, an opportunity presented itself to me that would allow me to move out to SoCal. And I think, had I not visualized myself living out in California for so long, my brain probably would not have been comfortable enough to accept that offer. Funny how things work out. Another tool that you can use that will help you to rewire your subconscious mind is EFT tapping. If you are not familiar with EFT tapping, it essentially stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. And what it is a technique that combines ancient Chinese acupuncture principles with modern psychology. You essentially use your fingers to tap on different meridian points throughout your body in order to release unresolved trauma and emotions that do not serve you, and also to adopt new thought patterns and beliefs that will ultimately serve you. EFT is also one of those things that is great to do while you are in those relaxed brainwave states. So you can do this right after you wake up in the morning or right before you fall asleep at night in order to help access those deeper layers of your subconscious. Another tool that you can use that will help you to rewire your subconscious mind is journaling. I absolutely love journaling. I started journaling actually as a way to try to heal myself from this insane insomnia that I had been experiencing for a long time. After I moved from the East Coast to the West Coast, I was in college and I would be tossing and turning in bed for about 4 hours every night before being able to fall asleep. It took me such a long time to fall asleep at night. And this lasted for months and months and months. And no matter what I did, nothing helped my brain to chill out at night. And it got to the point where I started journaling every day. And I committed to journaling for a half hour in the morning and a half hour at night. And literally within 2 weeks, my insomnia was gone. I could fall asleep within 15 minutes. Journaling can be so beneficial for helping you to develop new subconscious beliefs and let go of old ones, because it provides a private and safe space for you to process your own thoughts and feelings and emotions. And it allows you to become more self aware of any thought patterns that might not be conducive to your health and well being. So I feel like journaling has really helped me to release stress and to become a more confident person. And I am sure that it could perhaps help you as well. Other tools that you can use are talk therapy and hypnotherapy. And again, these are good because they do things that are similar to what we've already discussed with the other tools. They provide a safe space in order for you to process unresolved trauma. They help you to relax. They help you to become self aware of any mental beliefs or habits or behaviors that you ultimately are trying to clear out of your life. Another tool that can help to rewire your subconscious mind is EMDR. And what this is a mental health treatment technique where your eyes move in very specific directions while you process trauma. And the reason why this works is because essentially, when you move your eyes back and forth while you are processing these things, it helps connect the two hemispheres of your brain. And it is conducive to creating new neural connections. The final two tools that you can use in order to rewrite your own identity through rewiring your subconscious beliefs are moving your body and creating art. Moving your body can be so beneficial to changing the way that you perceive yourself because it can release trauma that is stored in the body. There's something called somatic shaking, which is essentially where you shake your whole body very vigorously, and that is believed to quite literally like release this buildup of energy that has been stored in different parts of your body. Dancing can also do this, swimming can do this. Any kind of fun and freeing way that you can move your body will help you do this. And the final tool that can help you change your internal state of being so that your external state of being follows suit is creating art. Art is such a powerful thing because it is a transformative experience. Whatever kind of art you like to make, whether it's poetry, music, drawing, painting, etc., etc., etc. It allows your brain to take past experiences that you have had and transmute it into something that is liberating, something that you enjoy seeing, something that helps you make sense of what your past experiences were. It's very freeing, it's very playful. It's something that we all do as children, right? So it's important that we recognize the power of making art and we don't discount how impactful it can be in helping us heal from past wounds. I love being in front of the camera and I love chatting to you all because this is a way for me to create art in my own life. For a long time, I felt like my voice was not something that was needed in the world, and it was not something of value. And by me I'm tearing up as I say this, but by me coming on here and making these podcasts, making these videos, it's like I can tell my inner child that actually that narrative that I believed for so long, that my voice wasn't worthy of being heard, is not true. Because there are people in the world that can connect with my voice. They can connect with my art. And I guarantee you, others will connect with the things that you create. And it will be a healing experience. So, that is the whole episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want to remind you that you have the power to create the life of your dreams. You have the power to overcome any challenges, any obstacles, any patterns of suffering that you have experienced in your life or continue to experience in your life. The divine wants you to have fun in this lifetime, and it wants you to feel your very best self. This is the truth of life. So I hope that even at least one piece of information that you heard in this podcast, in this conversation, was eye-opening to you. And I hope that you can recognize that you are inherently a courageous person, because to continue to live is a courageous act in and of itself. And because you are courageous, you can use any and all of these tools that we have discussed during this episode in order to change your life from the inside out. You have the power to become your own best friend. And when you do that, life becomes your friend as well. So, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. I love you so much. I believe in you. You've got this. And I will talk to you soon. I love you guys. Bye.